why this might be MotoGP's toughest contract negotiation yet. Ducati just wrapped up a powerhouse 2025 MotoGP season, with Marc Márquez reminding everyone why he's a generational talent. On track, things look simple. He wins, they win. Off track? Not so simple. Behind closed doors, Bologna is staring at a negotiation that's way trickier than the one that first brought Márquez into red. This time, the 8-time world champion holds almost all the cards. Ducati's whole project over the last few years has followed a very clear philosophy. Build the best bike, and the best riders will do whatever it takes to get on it. That's not just a slogan. Marc Márquez is the ultimate proof.
Welcome to GP Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.
To get his hands on a Desmacedesai, Márquez walked away from the final year of his big-money Honda contract, reportedly leaving more than €20 million on the table. Then he signed with Gresini for 2024 on what was essentially a "I don't care about the money" deal, just to ride a Ducati at all. It was a massive gamble, but it wasn't blind. In his head, the plan was clear. Prove he's still Marc Márquez on a satellite Ducati, fight his way into the factory team. Once he's winning again, then push for the big contract. The showdown with Jorge Martin over the factory seat for 2025 was the climax of that plan. Ducati chose Márquez, and it looks smarter every passing race. When Ducati announced Márquez for the factory squad right after last year's Italian Grand Prix, it was almost too easy for them. He was walking into Pecco Bagnaia's garage. On paper, Bagnaia was still the leader of the project, the 2-time champion, the guy everything was built around. That power dynamic shaped the contract. While the exact numbers aren't public, Paddock Whispers and Motorsport.com's analysis suggest. Base salary, around €3 million for Márquez in his first year as an official Ducati rider, surprisingly low for someone of his stature. Performance bonuses, extremely generous. His 11 wins before his injury in Indonesia are believed to have earned him more than €2 million in bonuses. On top of that, another €2 million was reportedly tied to winning the championship. So yeah, on paper, the base salary was cheap for a superstar. But with the way he delivered, the total package ballooned into something much closer to what a top guy should earn. Ducati got the best of both worlds. Low risk up front, big payouts only if he actually dominated. He did. And now the whole balance has flipped. According to Motorsport.com, the first serious conversations about a new deal for 2027 to 2028 started before the Asian Tour, so even before the title celebrations in Japan. It's very likely there was another key sit-down later in the year, probably around Valencia. Then came the twist. Misfortune struck his already battered right arm again, forcing him to miss the final 4 races of the season. That injury adds a layer of complication for both sides. For Ducati, they've seen how good he is when healthy, but they also can't ignore that his right arm has been through a lot. They'll be thinking about risk, longevity, and how much guaranteed money they can responsibly commit. For Márquez, after sacrificing a fortune to escape Honda and rebuild his career, this is his moment to cash in and lock in some long-term security while he's back on top. He wants to stay, at least until 2028. Ducati wants him to stay. But wanting it and agreeing on how it looks on paper are two very different things. Here's where it gets really tricky. Ducati isn't operating with an unlimited checkbook. Unlike Honda or Yamaha, Ducati doesn't have the same raw financial firepower. And right now, they're feeling extra pressure. Exports to the United States and China, 2 crucial markets, are down. Recently introduced tariff policies by US President Donald Trump have hit European manufacturers, including Ducati, in the wallet. Audi, Ducati's parent company, saw an 11.8% drop in sales in 2024 compared to 2023 because of that. The Audi group has put budget containment measures in place for this year and next, and those measures will still be active in 2026, right when contracts for the 2027 to 2028 cycle need to be signed. So Ducati is walking a tightrope. They can't afford to lose the guy who just dragged them to new heights, but they also can't just throw Honda-style money at him without looking over their shoulder at Audi's spreadsheets. A year and a half ago, Márquez was the one accepting Ducati's terms without much pushback. The thinking was, If I can win again, my moment to push will come naturally. Well, this is that moment. And he knows it. Let's simplify it like American sports free agency. Back in 2024 to 2025, Márquez was the star trying to prove he still deserved a max contract. In 2025 to 2026, he became the max-level player again. And now it's Ducati that can't really imagine life without him. Ducati's priorities are clear. Lock Márquez down. He's the face of their MotoGP project. Worry about who sits on the other side of the garage later. With Bagnaia struggling mentally and competitively, the choice of teammate becomes a secondary storyline. That's why this negotiation feels different. It isn't just about how much anymore, but also how long. 2027 to 2028 straight? Options? Clauses? How much guaranteed versus bonus-based? What happens if his arm becomes a problem again? And what if another manufacturer comes in with a wild offer? Another big wrinkle. 2027 is the beginning of a new technical era in MotoGP. The rules are changing, and no one truly knows which manufacturer will nail the new formula. Ducati has been the benchmark in the current era, but that doesn't automatically transfer to the next one. From Márquez's perspective, locking himself in too long with the wrong package could cost him more titles. Keeping some flexibility might make sense in case another brand knocks on his door with a better bike for the new rules. From Ducati's perspective, they want stability. The ideal scenario is having their star rider committed for the entire first cycle of the new regulations, 2027 to 2028, helping develop and refine the bike. So now you've got a classic clash of interests. Rider wants leverage and flexibility. Factory wants security and continuity. That's the kind of tug-of-war that turns a simple extension into a chess match. No one understands this balancing act better than Gigi Dall'Igna, Ducati's general manager and the architect behind their modern MotoGP monster. Speaking to motorsport.com a few weeks ago, he summed up the situation in a very Gigi way. Every piece has to be in its place, and it's only fair that it be so. We will sit down to manage the situation in the best possible way. Translation into plain American sports speak. We know he deserves to get paid. We also know we can't break the bank. Now we have to figure out how to make everyone walk away smiling. Put all the pieces together and you get a rider back at the peak of his powers, with massive leverage. A factory that built its project around him, whether they planned to or not. Financial constraints from above, Audi Group and tricky markets. An upcoming regulation change that could reshuffle the competitive order. A history of serious injuries that both sides have to factor in, and a rider who once rode for free just to get a shot, but is now in a perfect position to say, okay, now it's time to do this my way. That's not a normal contract talk. That's a high-stakes negotiation that will shape not just Ducati's future, but MotoGP's balance of power heading into the late 2020s.